Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen and I'm here today with my Christmas book haul. This year I didn't get any Barnes & Noble or other bookstore gift cards for Christmas, which is fine. I have so many books. So I was able to do this haul pretty quickly after Christmas. That being said, I did in fact go to Barnes & Noble the day after Christmas because there were some notebooks that I wanted that I'll also go ahead and show off, why not? But I did end up picking up one book as well. I've been trying to keep up on the Barnes & Noble Book of the Years, and hardcovers were 50% off, so I couldn't resist. And I got Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. Also, just, it's pretty hard to resist these very bright colors. But anyways, moving on to the books that I actually got for Christmas. The first book that I got for Christmas was Mercury Pictures Presents by Anthony Marra. I this year have gotten pretty into Poured Over, the Barnes & Noble podcast, but I haven't actually read a single book that any of the episodes have been about. A lot of the times I haven't even read any of the books by the author who's on, but I still really enjoy the podcast. And so this is one of the episodes I listened to. It caught my interest because in the description it said the book was a World War II book that takes place in Hollywood, and that sounded cool, so I listened to the episode. I don't listen to every episode, only if it sounds like something interesting. But so I told my mom about the episode and some of the cool stuff that was in the episode. There was some coincidental topics that came up that were similar to things that came up in other parts of my life. So I was talking to my mom about it and she ended up getting it for me for Christmas. And then from my husband's parents, I got The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix and Horror Store, also by Grady Hendrix. My boyfriend's mom is a fan of horror and thriller books and is a big fan of Grady Hendrix. And I also have been interested in these two specifically. This one because I also am a big fan of movies and I like horror movies. I'm not as into them as I used to be, but I went through a real phase with horror movies. And so playing with this trope of the final girl and having it be a support group for final girls that have survived essentially slasher flicks sounded very fun. And then Horror Store also just looks so unique. It basically looks like an IKEA catalog, and it is a horror story that basically takes place in an IKEA, so that's just a very interesting concept. And then my husband's sister, who gets way too extravagant of gifts, got me a KitchenAid standing mixer this year. And so to go with that, she also got me recipes from the world of Tolkien, which I'm very excited about. I have already decided that my first recipe simply must be limbus bread, so I think this one will be a lot of fun. And then she also got my husband the unofficial Hogwarts cocktail book. And then the final book, another book that was actually for my husband, but who knows, I might read it at some point. My brother and sister-in-law got him The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I don't know if he realizes quite what he got himself into by asking for this one. It is ginormous. I earlier this year read my first Brandon Sanderson. I read Skyward, much smaller, and I loved it. It was a 5-star read. So I would be interested in potentially someday reading more Sanderson and maybe The Way of Kings, but it truly is ginormous. So that was it for the books that I got for Christmas / got for myself. But as usual, I thought it'd be fun to show off some of the other things I got. I'll go ahead and start with the notebooks that I already mentioned, and I got myself all of these the day after Christmas. I was due for another yearly planner, so I got myself a planner, which I really love the color and the cats. But then I also decided that I'm going to give book journaling a try this year. I've been seeing it on YouTube and it just looks so fun. So I got myself this notebook for that purpose. And I have already started a little bit. I have my little opening page, Reading Journal 2023. And my husband actually gave me a great idea of doing a little drawing for each book that I read. So far I've got a bee for Milk and Honey and a little house for The House in the Cerulean Sea. But then I'm also putting together my monthly reading plan, which I already had these written in a different notebook. And I also wrote down my 23 books for 2023, which I'm going to be posting a picture of on Instagram. So I just already had that picture prepared and I'm just writing down the books that I had put there. And that's all I have for that so far. My 2023 wrap-up next year might just be me going through this journal. The first year I went through my Goodreads, the second year I went through my Storygraph. This year I did like a Spotify Wrapped style, so next year it might be this. And then finally I got this little lined notebook. I wrote a poetry collection in 2020 that is not going to be published, but I still want like a physical copy of it, and poetry is pretty short and easy to write down, so I figured I would just get a notebook and just write it down, because right now it's just on my computer. Next, moving on to something I got myself again, and that is this Spider-Man sweater. It is an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man sweater because he is my favorite Spider-Man. And then I also, for my husband, for one of his Christmas gifts, got him a Tom Holland matching Spider-Man sweater because Tom Holland is his favorite Spider-Man. And then the rest of the gifts that I'm going to show off are all either like wedding or honeymoon related. First of all, I got this adorable ornament, and then I also got 2 of those Loungefly mini backpacks. I wanted these for my honeymoon because we're going to Disney World and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and I wanted something that I could carry some stuff in, and I didn't really want to do like a crossbody purse because that can make your shoulder hurt having all that weight on just one shoulder, and I wanted a little more room than a purse. I mean, there are big purses that you can get, but that then just increases the issue with the hurt shoulder. So I thought the Loungefly mini backpacks would be perfect. I've been eyeing these things for a long time because they're so cute, and I feel like this will be the perfect place to use them. So I got 2 for Christmas. One is Disney themed because we're going to Disney World, and the other is Harry Potter themed because we're going to the Wizarding World. We are doing our honeymoon on our like 1st anniversary, which is why this isn't something that's already happened. But anyways, the Harry Potter one, absolutely adorable. I love it so much. I love the like letter detail on the front. I love all the different symbols. The artwork is so pretty. This is kind of my preferred style for these little Loungefly backpacks, the ones that are just covered in small things rather than like one overarching design. So this is perfect and I love it. And then I also got this Disney themed one that is also book themed. So we've got Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, and Snow White, which actually leads me to another gift that I got. I stuck it in here for safekeeping. I got this headband. There's a dress on the way. It just hadn't arrived yet by Christmas. It still hasn't arrived, but it's going to. But it is a kind of Snow White looking sort of dress. It's not a costume. I'm aware that adults can't wear costumes to Disney World. More of a Disney bounding situation. So, but when I opened the headband, I knew immediately that I was also getting this Snow White dress that I've had my eye on. So yeah, I'm all prepared for Disney World. And then the final thing I'll talk about, I showed off in a wedding haul quite some time ago this Etta James album. At Last is the song me and my husband picked for our first dance, and my husband came up with the idea of buying the album and having it just like on display on the guest book table as just a fun decor piece at the wedding. But after that, I was like, oh, I kind of wouldn't mind having a record player so that this isn't just decoration. So we also got a record player for Christmas. So we have our Etta James, of course, which we listened to right away when we got the record player. But then when we were at Barnes & Noble the day after Christmas, we both decided to pick out one more album each. I'm sure we'll get some more over time, but I don't want too huge of a collection personally. So I decided to pick out a Christmas album because I thought it would be nice to have just one Christmas album that we could put on each year, like while we're decorating or something. And so of course I had to go with the greatest, the iconic, the most perfect Christmas album of all time, Mariah Carey's Merry Christmas. The only other one I would have considered would have been Kelly Clarkson's Wrapped in Red. But this one, of course, is the greatest and is very pretty because it is a special edition red album. And then the album my husband picked out was the soundtrack for Stranger Things 4. Very sadly, we went to Best Buy right after Barnes & Noble, and they had a version that had like all 4 of the storylines in like a circle. It was just a way cooler cover for the album, and it was $2 cheaper. But alas, this is the one we have, which is still very cool, but just a little disappointing that we could have gotten a better version. But yeah, that was it for my Christmas book and a few other things haul. Let me know down below if you got any exciting books for Christmas or anything else exciting for Christmas. I hope you enjoyed watching. Now on to the quote for today's video, which today I have one from The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and it is said by the character Death. And it goes, "I am haunted by humans." Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.